Well, is America ready for a third-party candidate? Democrats say entertaining the idea poses a huge risk in the 2024 election. Politico reports that prominent Democratic political groups are working to gather data that shows a third-party candidate might be disastrous to President Biden's reelection bid. And over the weekend, DNC Chair Jamie Harrison warning third-party candidates, this is not the time to experiment. Niall, Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, is with me right now. Niall, good morning. Happy Monday. You know, this always sounds like such a far and away pipe dream, but now there are really serious concerns. How likely would this be to happen?
It is quite likely to happen in terms of the group that we're talking about, which is No Labels, which has been promoting the idea of a third-party candidate for some time. Now, we do have to mention Cornel West, the academic and author, is already saying he will seek the Green Party's nomination. So there is another candidate in that sense. But to the No Labels thing, they are suggesting that there's an appetite for someone not from the two major parties, particularly if the nominees are President Biden and former President Trump. They're talking up people like Senator Joe Manchin as potential candidates if they do go ahead.
But his name popping up, particularly because he's saying he'd be open to exploring this presidential campaign, not as a Democrat, but as an independent with apparently a lot of money behind him.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole No Labels idea, that you have a well-funded campaign for a third-party candidate. And of course, though Senator Manchin is officially a Democrat, he wouldn't be running as the Democratic nominee. I mean, I see why they think he might run. Partly it's because he doesn't have any problem alienating or aggravating the rest of the Democratic Party. He's clearly a more centrist figure, having won re-election in a state that is very Republican by its nature. The other point to make about Manchin, Adrienne, is that he is or would be due to run for re-election to the Senate in 2024, but he's actually lagging a Republican challenger, Jim Justice, who's currently the governor of that state, in the polls. So Manchin may well think, well, I've nothing to lose, and go for the presidential thing.
I was going to say, how is he even being considered as a viable presidential threat if he is lagging behind in the polls in his Senate race? And then people bringing up Robert F. Kennedy. Obviously, he's running on the Democratic ticket. He's never confirmed, even to our Elizabeth Vargas in our town hall, that he would be interested in an independent seat or a ticket. But why is his name being brought up?
Because in that same town hall, he didn't commit to supporting President Biden if Biden were to win the Democratic nomination. And Kennedy is another one who, even though the name is obviously very illustrious in Democratic circles, his candidacy has been welcomed by some Republicans, and certainly some of his ideas, not just about vaccines, but about things like the war in Ukraine, are out of step with where the Democratic Party is, but may find some broader sympathy. So that's why he's been spoken about. Just to circle back to your earlier point about Manchin, it's because the idea is that he is running in such a conservative state as a senator, he might lose as a Democrat, but decide to go for a presidential bid separately.
But can we just put a big bow on this conversation? Because the issue really isn't that there will be an independent candidate on this ticket that has a chance at the White House. The issue is that Democrats are afraid that votes are going to be stolen from President Biden. I mean, really, bottom line.
Yes, absolutely the bottom line. Democrats are panicked by this idea, and they're right to be. In 2020, even though President Biden won the popular vote quite comfortably, the Electoral College was really close. Fewer than 12,000 votes in Arizona, fewer than 12,000 votes in Georgia, a margin of fewer than 1% in Wisconsin. If all those states had gone the other way, the Electoral College would have been tied. So is a third-party candidate going to win the presidency? Almost certainly not. But could a third-party candidate take 12,000 votes here and there? Quite easily. And that's why Democrats are worried.
Niall, Stanage, thanks for breaking it all down. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.